So Jason Buttrill is with us, and he has an update on really everything that we have been following for the last year and a half on the impeachment and what was happening over in Ukraine, and something that really started in July of 2016 with, we now know, Hillary Clinton, and later involved the White House, President Obama and Joe Biden. Last night, the president declassified all of these documents. Tell me about the documents that are coming our way.
So the first we got last week was just kind of a hint of what we're now seeing today.
Which got no press, was huge news. Huge.
So that was just kind of an announcement that somehow the U.S. government intelligence agencies knew from the Russian intelligence that Hillary Clinton was launching this entire operation to go after Donald Trump.
To discredit, not to prove anything, but to intentionally discredit by making people believe that Russia was trying to help him win the election. So we now know that to be true, that they knew in advance that she was doing that from Russian intel.
And not only that, but and not only just to discredit him, but the email hack had come out. And that's specifically stated as a reason. They wanted to divert attention away from her emails. They didn't want anyone looking at that, so they wanted to pin everything on collusion between the Russians and Donald Trump. I mean, just absolutely insane.
Okay, so now we have everything that they accused Donald Trump of doing. We now have the evidence, the hard evidence in their own handwriting that this was going on with Hillary Clinton. It got no news. But there's something else that was released last week, and that is the identity of the
informant,
the informant, the deep throat that the Steele dossier was all based on.
Yeah, that source, which we've outed a while back, that this was this drunken guy that would get with his boys, and just basically theory craft things. It was based off of that. Well, we didn't know until, again, last week. But this guy I don't think you can call him anything else but a Russian spy.
Russian spy. He actually had been marked and I think kicked out of the country because he was recruiting people that worked at the White House. He would say, hey, if you ever really want a job with us, we could sure use some people in the White House. The FBI caught him recruiting people in the Obama White House. I'm not saying that they took him up on it, but they caught him recruiting people for the White House. So he's an enemy of our nation.
He said in so many words, this might be a direct quote, it might be a little off, but if you ever get into one of those positions, there's money to be made there.
Right. So he's working with the Russians to get people to spy on us. That's the guy who was drunk in the bar and said, hey, let me tell you something, Steele. This is what you need. This is a complete setup by Russia. And the FBI knew it. They knew he was the source.
So they accused Donald Trump of working with the Russians. The Hillary Clinton campaign was working with the Russians on this, through Steele with this guy.
Right. Knowingly. Everyone knew it. Everyone. It's not like, oh, well, I was duped. Everyone knew it.
Just this part. We haven't even gotten to the most recent...
no, that was last week.
Can you imagine? Like, what if the situation was reversed? Can you imagine what Maddow would be doing? Her head would be exploding on this.
This is
nothing.
Because this is the smoking gun. This is what they were looking for on Donald Trump. But they knew they would never find because they knew it was a Hillary Clinton operation.
Now, I want to talk about a little bit how they're attacking, how the left and how members of the deep state are attacking this part, because I think it's really important.
Okay, all right.
So the way they're attacking it is in that memo that was released last week, they said that this information, the information regarding Hillary Clinton, was directing this operation. They said that the reason that it's kind of they can't really rely on it is because there's a paragraph in there that says something along the lines of, we can't verify if this is completely accurate. We can't verify if what the Russians thought isn't a fabrication, yada, yada, yada.
Right. However, didn't that happen the first time? That happened in like July of 2016. They came back in September and said, we have it. You need to follow this, right?
So, yes. And you also, just the way in intelligence circles how this works, you're not briefing the president on a rumor. You're not briefing the president on something that could be a, quote, fabrication or could be misinformation. You're not briefing the president on that. It will not happen. You'll get fired. And you'll get ostracized, and you'll never be back in the intelligence.
So Jason was former intel for military, so He knows the rules.
So this is not disinformation. You don't take disinformation. Every intelligence person knows this. You don't take disinformation and spread it, which is what you would have done. That's the reason why he would not have briefed the president in the Oval Office. So if they say this is disinformation, it's not. And I am sure the DNI is probably going to address this somewhat soon. I think he's signaled that he's going to. So what they got was probably an NSA intercept, would be my guess. What they got was some kind of intercept saying that, look, this is what the Russians see, this is what they've collected, and this is what they're preparing for, because they're going to have to defend themselves on this, obviously. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see that come up a lot. But we now know that that's not just a partisan release. We've now seen, and this is the new one, John Brennan's personal notes in the Oval Office where he's talking about this very specifically. They present this information to Obama. It looks to me like a warning. Like, look, this information's out there. We cannot let this go forward. Why? Because I personally think that the Obama administration, they were behind this from day one.
Yeah, they're fine.
We've already got this paper trail from July 2016. Mm-hmm. We also know from more handwritten notes from January 2017 that, hey, they didn't find anything. They closed the investigation.
Yeah. And Biden intentionally found a way to trump up charges and continue this investigation and this lie.
Right. The Logan Act.
Yes.
That's where, yeah. Right. So it was closed. The Obama personally himself said, no, you're not going to close this. Not direct quote, but in so many words, continue. Keep this going. Mm-hmm. They were behind it from day one. Other members of the Obama administration, in those handwritten notes, you see some of the other people that are involved. He mentioned Susan Rice. We've been talking about her forever. She's also the one that sent that cover-up email the day that Trump was inaugurated. Remember that we did all this by the book? Mm-hmm. All of their fingerprints are all over every little piece of this.
So this is why Donald Trump has had to be stopped. Another Republican would not have said, you know what, I'm just going to go bomb the snot out of ISIS and then we're going home. He wouldn't do the things that Donald Trump has done. He would not have moved the embassy. He wouldn't do relations as Trump has done with NATO. Donald Trump is a loose cannon in their China shop, and they don't want him in there. They want, when I talk about deep state, it's not some star chamber. It's all the unelected federal officials that don't care who the president is. They're on their own path and tell the president that he has to do X, Y, and Z. And, well, Trump isn't the guy to do that. And this is why, because not only do you have that class, which is the majority of the people, when I say deep state, that they don't care what the election says. They're moving forward, all with, probably good intent. Then you have another level that is a star chamber kind of group. And that we now know never thought this would get to the level of the Oval Office. But in their own handwriting, this went all the way to President Obama. And it's because the press never held them responsible for anything. They thought they could get away with it, and quite frankly, they would have if Hillary Clinton wasn't as crazy and as dirty as she was, and if they didn't have so much to hide. And the third piece, you had somebody that was a regular politician that just would have gone along. Donald Trump, they had to stop. Now, why are they pulling out all the stops here? Because this investigation proves it goes all the way to the Oval Office. It has Biden, it has Obama, it has Hillary, it has the CIA, it has the NSA, it has the State Department, and everyone's name now is known. When we first put this out, we didn't necessarily know who was getting caught, but we did show you this went all the way. And early on, we were saying it has to go to the White House. You wouldn't have known it. It had to go to the White House, but we didn't have the evidence of that. So we would leave that out, or I would say my opinion is it goes here. But now we know everything. I should say we're about to know everything. We know enough today to know this goes to the White House.
You know, it's amazing. Everything, and we've said this for a while, that they accuse Trump of, they've done. And you can take any accusation that they levy on Trump, take that same thing and then look it through the lens of what they've done, and you'll find them guilty of the exact same thing. The ridiculousness with Ukraine. We show that's what they were guilty of doing. What they said Donald Trump did. They're talking now about they're not going to have a peaceful transition of power. We haven't had a peaceful transition of power since 2008.
Yeah,
that's why Obama's the only president to ever stay in Washington D.C. Yeah. Because they tried this starting back in July 2016. It didn't work. So they continued it on. They knew that was going to fall apart. Obama stays in D.C., and then he starts organizing Obama for America, organizing for action. Mm-hmm. Then they start building this resistance platform that we're seeing now unleashed at this very minute. And oh my gosh, what you were talking about last week, they've got plans.
Yeah, it's a coup. It is a coup against our country. And you're not going to get this information from the mainstream media, but we can back it up with all of the documents.